Welcome to this week's car review. I am both very fortunate and a little cursed today. Very fortunate in that I have a viewer of my channel has lent me his brand new Porsche Boxster to review. And when I say brand new, this car is right out of the box. It's only got 600 miles on the clock. So I'm lucky, A, that he's letting me review it, and B, that he's letting me rev it right to the red line, even though it's still in its sort of run-in phase. Although with these modern engines, it's not a big deal. However, I am a little cursed because it's raining. Well, actually it stopped raining, but I'm driving under the canopy of the trees, and so I'm still getting a few drops here and there. Today was meant to be a fine day, so it was the perfect day to arrange this. And you know, driving with the top down in a lovely, sporty little car like this, with the one you love beside you, Albert, what could be more fun? What could be more fun? It would be more fun if it wasn't raining. So hopefully the weather's going to hold just long enough for me to do this review. But in the meantime, let's have a bit of fun with this car. This car is awesome. Before we get on to what we're going to do, BMW people that follow my channel for BMWs, close your ears or turn your volume down for a minute. You know, 5 minutes in this little car and I'm already having more fun than I have in my M4. I know it's sacrilege for me to say that, but you know, I just love the way Porsche does things. Everything just works so well, sounds so great, and having such a small light car just makes it so much fun. Even though this is the base model, this is the 265 horsepower, everyone bitches and moans it doesn't have enough power, but you know, it's not going to throw you back in your seat, but it's still so much fun to drive. The sound, the responsiveness, the engine is so responsive. In fact, the engine is so responsive that it makes rev matching quite tricky. Changing up gears is no trouble, but if I cruise along here, I'm in third gear, and then I go down a gear. I got it. Oh, see, I missed it completely then. Let's try it again. I'm coming down, flip the throttle. Got it that time. But yeah, rev matching is tricky because the engine is so responsive. Of course, there's a cheat mode. I can put it in Sport Plus, and when you put it in Sport Plus, it revs the engine, blips it, and gets the rev matching just right. Makes you sound like you know what you're doing. But that's the cheat mode. We'll try and do it without that today. So anyway, what are we going to do in this review? Let's pull up here somewhere and we'll quickly talk about the specifications of this car. And then hopefully the rain is going to slow down a little bit and we'll take it for a good spin in these back roads. It's so much fun to drive. It is so much fun to drive. And then we'll take it somewhere and we'll do a walk around the outside, talk about the exterior features and have a look at the inside, and then wrap it up from there. So yeah, I'm really so fortunate to be driving this car today, but so unfortunate that the weather's not holding. Connecticut weather, always cursing me. Anyway, I'll pull in this road up here and we'll talk about the specs before we take it for a good drive. Okay, Albert, let's just stop here. Do we need to put the roof up? Oh, it's not too bad. I don't want to get this car too wet. It's not my car and it's very generously been lent to me. Anyway, let's quickly talk about the specs before we take it for a decent drive. So this is the 981 Boxster, introduced in 2012, and a big improvement on what was already a fabulous car. I think, you know, it looks so much bigger on the outside, but it really doesn't feel any bigger on the inside. It looks so much more, I don't know, masculine, I think this version does. I think it's very pretty. In fact, I have always preferred the Boxster version to the Cayman version, and this car I definitely prefer the Boxster version. I mean, you get the convertible and it's just as much fun to drive in my mind. So for the same price, I'd always go for the Boxster over the Cayman. I know a lot of people would disagree with me on that one. So yeah, what is the price? Well, the base price before any discounts, and there are big discounts to be had on these cars, you know, 7 to 9% is not unusual here in the US, so always keep that in mind. But yeah, the base price is $51,100. which makes it the cheapest Porsche available in North America at the moment, but only by the smallest margin. You know, it's for only $500 more you can get the Cayman, or you can get the Macan S. There's no base Macan here in the US. The Macan S is the base model, and that would be very tempting to a lot of people. The Macan, you get a lot more standard stuff, all sorts of toys, a much bigger 3-litre engine with turbochargers, 340 horsepower as opposed to 265. So, you know, but it's an SUV. It's a heavy SUV, over 4,000 pounds. Doesn't drive anything like this car. This car is an absolute hoot to drive. So yeah, depends where your priorities lie, but yeah, if you're looking for a fun Sportster, then this is the way to go. If you're looking for, you know, the Porsche badge, but are willing to have an SUV and all the great things that come with an SUV, then obviously the Macan's the way to go for this price. So yeah, it's got a lot of competition in this price bracket. You know, for this sort of money, for just over $50,000, you can get a 435 convertible, or even an S5 convertible. A lot of other cars sort of in this price range. So you know, it's got a lot of competition, so it has to be a pretty cool car in order to sell as well as it does, and it really is a cool car. This base model, of course, is the 2.7 litre 265 horsepower engine, which it's not going to blow you away, and the real problem with this engine is more the lack of torque. You know, there's not a lot of push to the engine, but that said, you know, we live in this marvelous age these days where, you know, 265 horsepower is suddenly considered not that much. You know, a few years ago that was amazing to have in your car. And this is a very light car. You know, this is under 3,000 pounds to 200. Rain! All right, we're putting the top up. We're putting the top up. Up we go, up we go. Okay. The top's up. Can you still see me? Okay, good. It's a little darker. So the top's up. Yeah. So it's a very lightweight car, 2,800 pounds, and strangely enough, the Cayman with the hard top is exactly the same weight. You know, the stiffening that this car requires obviously takes about the same amount of weight as the Cayman takes with the roof. So interesting, these two cars. But the Cayman is just a fraction faster because they give the Cayman just a fraction more power. Otherwise, it's also a fairly economical car. Its miles per gallon is 30 on the highway, which is pretty good. But yeah, so it's got a lot of stiff competition at this price range, but if you're willing to put up with having a two-seater car, and you're looking for a sporty roadster, this car is just so much fun to drive. And speaking of driving, shall we get on with the driving, Albert? Yes, we can. The rain has stopped again, so we can put the roof back down and we'll get on with some driving. All right, let's go for a drive. Good times, good times. I've got to get another Porsche. Okay, so what is the engine telling us? The engine is telling us, let me sing the song of my people, and what a glorious song it is. You quickly forget that this is the base model engine. This engine sounds so glorious and is plenty powerful enough to be having fun in this car. And then on top of that, you've got this lovely short throw gearbox. Yes, next time I buy a car, I'm going to get the manual gearbox. I don't regret getting the dual clutch and the M4. I think the M4 suits the dual clutch gearbox, but in a smaller, lighter, more fun car like this, I think the manual gearbox is the way to go. It's such an easy gearbox to use, it really is. You know, as I mentioned quickly before, you know, it's very responsive, so, you know, getting the gear changes just right or rev matching can be a little tricky, but, you know, in the short time I've had it, I'm picking it up no problem. And of course, you've got the cheat button there as well. But yeah, this How do I portray what fun this car is? Well, I guess the way I see it is, you know, Porsche has their ergonomics right, you know. I feel so comfortable, I feel so in control of the car. Even in a slippery day like today, I know that I'm not taking any risks with this car. You know, I'm not pushing it too hard, yet I'm still having enormous fun. And, you know, how do they do that? How do they take me from, you know, a really great car like my M4 and put me in a car that is $30,000 less than my M4, and yet I have more fun in it? And I guess it's because this is such a light, fun car, and that engine sound is so glorious, and it's, you know, I feel so at home in this car. I guess that's the way I'd explain it. It's just they just do such a great job with their cars, and even this base model Boxster is just so much fun. So a question I often get about the Cayman and the Boxster is, what's it like driving those cars compared to the 911? And the answer I've given in the past has always been, well, you know, it's like making out with your girlfriend's sister. It's very similar in a lot of ways, but just different enough to make it exciting and fun. And that's so true. You know, the Boxster is so similar to the 911. All the controls are the same. It feels very familiar to me. But, you know, being mid-engined and being just a little smaller and lighter, it does have that difference that makes it, you know, a completely different car in a lot of ways, and such an exciting car to drive. Okay, onto the inside. I've got a little bit of a wet gorilla here. I had a little bit of rain on the seat, but the rest of the car has stayed pretty dry, luckily. The rain is screwing me over today. I apologise. This review is a little disjointed because of the rain. So yeah, we'll look at the inside, and then hopefully it'll stop raining for a moment and I can put the top down and I can demonstrate how the top works, and we'll have a look around the outside. So, on with the insides. The inside is standard Porsche sports car. You know, it's very similar to the 911. It's very similar to, well, it's almost exactly the same as the Cayman. There's minor differences though. The 911 gets the full instrument cluster. This gets what's known as the condensed instrument cluster, which you see on the Boxster, the Cayman, and the Macan. All the other Porsches get the 5 pods. This gets the 3 pods, and the only real difference is that one of the 5 pods is normally the gas gauge, and so in these condensed pods they force the gas gauge up into the multifunction there. So the multifunction works just like on any other Porsche, except for the gas gauge is forced to stay there unless you have the navigation and the gas disappears when you're showing the navigation screen. And speaking of navigation, this car doesn't have the navigation, and it's one of the annoyances of the Cayman and the Boxster is that every other Porsche comes standard with the navigation and the high resolution screen. They cheap out on these ones for some reason. It's so annoying because, you know, it's no big deal to put the navigation in, and it's a really expensive option. It's like $3,000 to have the navigation package in this car, which is crazy. So that's a real shame they don't do that. But you know, these days everyone navigates with their phones anyway, so no big deal. It's just would be nice to see the high resolution screen. But all that's about to change with Porsche. They're going to have the new screen soon, so no biggie there. So from left to right, over here you've got the standard, the nice window buttons, and they've always got a good click feel to them. Down here is this annoying e-brake, the handbrake system, which is counterintuitive to me at least. I always pull on it when I should be pushing on it. But yeah, if you've got a manual transmission, you've got to learn how to use that. The key in this car is the standard pull and push out one. If you get the keyless entry, you get a little plastic key that goes in there, and you don't need to put the key in. Oh, music off. And up here, as I was saying before, the 3-pod display, stop beeping, the radio, and also if you don't get the navigation, you also don't get the hard drive system, so you can't store your own music in the car. So you've got to plug your iPod or whatever into it. No big deal. It's just, Porsche are a little cheap about these things. Otherwise, this car comes with, the owner of this car didn't get many options, but he did get this lovely two-tone interior, which, actually works really well on this car. He's got the mineral grey on the outside, which is kind of a neutral color, but on the inside he's really made it really looks good. And so he's got a grey here and this beige, which with the stitching, and it really brings out the inside. It really looks good. I've never been a fan of this color combination, but it really looks good in this car. So yeah, it's really nice. And if we have a look underneath Albert's bottom here, it's a great color combo. Otherwise, down here where the switches are, he hasn't taken any of the options, so you don't see any of the sports exhaust switches or anything like that. It's just the basic switches you get with the base model. He does have the Sport Chrono, so you get some of the engine mounts and a few other little bits and pieces like that. But here you got the regular Sport button, Sport Plus, which is pretty much for the throttle response. Turn off the traction control, force the little spoiler at the back up, and of course turn off the automatic, the engine stop start when you're sitting at lights and so forth. And of course these two buttons are for the roof. And speaking of the roof, while I'm here, the roof it's not a hard top roof, but it really makes a huge difference to the amount of sound that enters the car when the roof is up. So when the roof is up, it really does feel like a Cayman in here, sound wise. It really does a great job of blocking out the sound. So, but of course most of the time you'd have the roof down and you hear that gorgeous engine and have the air blowing in your hair and having a good time. So yeah, it's one of the joys of having the Boxster is that it's two cars in one. It really is a nice coupe when the roof's up, and a great convertible when the roof is down. And it is still raining quite hard, so we'll wait for a moment for the rain to stop, and then I will demonstrate the roof and we'll have a look around the outside. Oh, this damn rain, it's not going to stop for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm getting soaked. Well, my camera gear is getting soaked. My glasses are fogging up. Anyway, I really don't want to get the inside of this car wet. It's a brand new car, but what we're going to do is I'm going to demonstrate the roof very quickly. Luckily, the roof comes up and down quickly, so we'll bring it down and put it back up again so you guys can see it in action. So we'll do that now, and then I'll walk around the outside and give you the outside tour, and I just have to get wet. Such is the life of a YouTuber. Okay, here we go. So here's how the roof comes up and down. Ready? Go. Ready to get wet, Albert? So it really races down there, but yeah, it's raining, so we're going to put it straight back up again. Good times. Okay, let's have a quick tour around the outside. First thing I'll say about the outside is that I really love the look of the rear of the car. I think it looks a lot more masculine than the previous Boxsters. It's got a really great shape to it. This car's got the 19-inch wheels on it with the optional little colour caps on it. I just cleaned this car and it's already dirty because of the rain. But yeah, it's a great looking shape. I really love these Boxsters. It's just such a great driving and looking car. Up the front you've got the trunk, or the frunk. It's got all my camera gear in it. But it's a nice deep, it's very similar to the one on the 911. Nice deep frunk. It's where most of your storage space is. And then around the back here you've got another little trunk which is similar to the one on the Cayman, which is pretty roomy as well. So, you know, these cars, even though they're a two-seater car, have got plenty of storage space. Otherwise, I think I've spent enough time standing in the rain, so I will jump back in and we'll do the wrap up. Yeah, great looking little car. Sorry I wasn't able to spend more time on the outside with it. Okay, so finally, to wrap up, what are my likes and dislikes about the 2015 Porsche Boxster? Well, there's not much to dislike. You know, if you are willing to put up with the fact that it's a two-seater sports car and that inconvenience, then this is just a magnificent machine. It is just such a joy to drive. It's hard to explain how much fun this car is. But yeah, if I was to pick out a few little gripes, I guess I hate the electronic brake. I hate that in all the Porsches. It's no big deal. It's just a nuisance. I don't like how it works. It's always down under there, and it'd be so nice to have a regular brake. But who cares? It's no big deal. The other gripe I'd have about this car would be that Porsche have cheaped out on the screen. It's the low resolution screen, and to charge you for navigation, come on Porsche, please. You throw navigation into all the other models basically, except for the Cayman and the Boxster. Why don't the Cayman and Boxster get the navigation like all the other cars? But otherwise, and that's just a marketing thing, you know. Why did Porsche do that? Otherwise, it is just a fabulous car. You know, I could gripe about the engine, but I'm not going to. The engine is fine. The engine is such a lovely sounding symphony of an engine. It's got enough power to get you much faster than you need to go, and sounds so great, and it's just glorious. So, you know, I wouldn't, if you can only afford the base engine, don't sweat it. You're going to have the time of your life in this car. The only other consideration would be, as I've mentioned before, this is you know, there's a lot of cars in this price range, in this low 50s price range. You can get the convertible 3-litre turbo BMW and Audi and the upcoming Mercedes, and those cars give you a lot more stuff for your money, but you won't have anywhere near as much fun. You know, this is such a light, fun car to drive. This is where the fun is. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching my videos as always. Albert and I are going to return back home with the roof up and drive this car off for its owner, and once again I really appreciate getting to drive this car today. It's just been such a hoot, and I'll see you guys in next week's video. Thanks again for watching, everyone. See you soon. Bye then. Do not turn down this road. Do not turn. Yes. Goodbye, Hyundai. Off we go. This rain is so annoying, Albert. I'm gonna wipe that lens. How we look in there, lens? Damn this rain. All right, Albert, my gorilla, is with me today, and so we are going to so well.